Welcome back, my friend. Welcome to this one. And today we're going to talk about people pleasing. Today we're going to talk about self-worth issues. Today we're going to talk about prioritizing yourself. Today we're going to talk about putting your foot in the sand and saying, I deserve more. I deserve love. I deserve health. I deserve everything. I'm excited because there's some things I have really come to appreciate, that in life there is things that are not second nature. And somehow, because I was born with that instinct, I thought that they were. But day by day, I'm getting challenged to believe that there is things that are really not second nature. Like when I grew up, I just knew that if I didn't want anything, I would say no. When I went through my dating life, I didn't date anyone who was, it's complicated. I didn't do that. It's complicated. Goodbye. I didn't date anyone that's, I'm still married to this person. We are not divorced. But, like, that wasn't a conversation. Like, I had a very radical way how I dated. I remember at one point I had questions that I asked people before the first date. I was like, okay, you like me, cool. This is possibly why you don't want to date me. And there were things like, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this. And I was like, so are you still cool? And people would be like, oh my God, no. And so I really had like these 5 questions that I sent people when they wanted to take me for a date. And I would say, this is probably why you don't want to date me. And most men would just eliminate themselves. And I just thought that it was something that was easy for everyone to eliminate people. But then my friends married the wrong person. And my friends were dating a man that was married. And my friends were dating a guy that wasn't looking for anything. And I got very confused. Like, why are you doing that? If the guy is not looking for a commitment and you want a marriage, why are you dating this man thinking he's going to change his mind? Like, I never thought about it until I started to see how people really struggled with choices, with saying no, with, cutting out people out of their life. And the more that I am now learning this work, the more I really have like an appreciation for life and how hard it can be. My guest for today is going to be talking about her life and how she's using her life to help others. Her school of hard knocks, all of her mistakes that she has done, all the things that she has gone through, and how she's packaged that, and she's now using it to help other women. I don't know that there's a better person to learn from than somebody who's been in the same situation and now is putting a stand by themselves and saying, no, I deserve better, I have better. And if I could do it, you could do it. But before I get ahead of myself, Stine, welcome to the show. I am super excited that you became my guest today. Like, I just can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
It is. I wanted you to tell the listener exactly what you do. How do you help people?
Well, that's a big question to start off because, well, we humans, we are complicated and we have so many different parts of our lives and they all intertwine. And for the most part, I help people see how everything is connected to each other in their lives. But those I mostly work with and help out are women that struggle with people pleasing. And those are not somewhere in their lives where they're happy about their situation. Like it can look like they have everything they want in this world, like looking from the outside. But this feeling of lack in life and in love. So I work a lot with women and their relationships and the people pleasing.
Oh. It's such a problem, and yet it doesn't seem like a problem. But people pleasing can be the root cause of so many things. Overwhelm, saying yes to many people, getting exhausted, always feeling like you're just serving people. Like, people pleasing can be a big one. I have seen people that were people pleasing, and I wondered how they did it. Because for me, when I don't want something, it's like, no. And I don't have to explain myself. There's no, but no. It's like, no. And here is dead questions like, no, like, why? And I'm like, Why does there have to be a why? Like, I just don't want to do it. But I've seen people that couldn't say no to something they didn't want to do. And then they ended up doing the thing and doing the thing for other people and other people and other people, including people they didn't care about. And that was so exhausting. And I was like, give me this life and I'm flat dead in one day. I was going to ask you, like, when the person you serve comes to you, are they aware of the people-pleasing behavior, or does it show up in other forms like overwhelm, or are they aware on the surface that they have the people-pleasing problem, or is it a result of you digging? I'm just trying to understand, like, what is the surface problem that people bring to you?
Usually it's kind of both. Some women that I work with are very aware that they do have people-pleasing habits, but not necessarily aware of how it affects all of their lives, like their physical, their mental, and their spiritual health, and how that actually intertwines in everything. And then I have those that have other symptoms that comes like after the people-pleasing, like burnout. Work a lot when it comes to whole holistic health and burnout. And what I see is that the people pleasing sometimes it's just the symptom. The root cause is something else. And if you think you have the root cause and you mask it with people pleasing, even sometimes you're aware of it, sometimes you're not. And then the masking, the people pleasing comes as a symptom again, like a bigger one from like burnout, fatigue, anything that's like you're done, you're finished, you're just out. But the root cause that I see a lot, and which has been for myself as well, is the fear of abandonment. Like, I just want to be loved. I just want to be appreciated. I just want to feel like I'm worthy, that someone likes me. And we do have this like deep, as people, we have a need to be seen, heard, and feel like we matter. That is basic needs, like basic spiritual connection needs. And everybody wants that. So when you say like, oh, I just said no, I'm just like in awe. Like, how were you born with that? Just like, no, because I think you're the first person that I've ever met that is actually, no, it was a no. So then it was a no. No explanation needed. And I'm just like, really? How do you do that? Because I had to teach myself to say no and to actually become aware of my people pleasing and my like root cause trauma that led to the people pleasing to get anywhere.
Oh, for me, I don't know. I don't have the problem of saying no. I do have a problem though, of really hurting people's feelings, because I feel like sometimes I've crushed someone. I'm like, nope, not happening. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't even have the ability to lie. So I'll be like, I don't want to do it. And they're like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know. So for me, my problem is different. Like, I need to be careful. Otherwise, then it's rude and ruthless and heartless, And that's a problem on its own, especially when you're around sensitive people. Like, I have to consciously catch myself and go, okay, how can you say that with love? How can you say that with I will still say no, but like, how can I say that in a way that doesn't crush another human being? That's my problem. I am very curious though, like, I'd love to kind of dive into your story if you don't mind, and kind of get to understand like how you got into this work.
Oh, that's a long story, but by the year I turned 23, I had no parents or grandparents left in this world. I was lucky to have my siblings, absolutely, but I lost my dad very young. I was 7, and then someone in between, and then my mom and my grandma at 23. And I think from early on losing my dad, I did develop this fear of abandonment. Absolutely. Because ever since he passed, I was like, always been the good girl. And I could see that if my sister rocked the boat, like not behaving in any way that the family didn't like, or that would cause any kind of disturbances or arguing, I would just go in silent mode and I would be like, okay, I need to please, I cannot rock the boat. I cannot do this. I cannot do that because then I'm not seen, I'm not loved, I'm not appreciated.
Mm.
So I didn't want to rock the boat in any way. So I was just like, okay, then I'm gonna be the good girl. And that made me internalize a lot of things. And I can still see that if I get triggered in, especially in relationships, relationships, especially
Mm.
romantic ones with partner,
Mm.
are an incredible mirror.
Mm.
And I can see I get triggered by something and I make it my fault.
Mm.
Like, or not necessarily my fault, but my responsibility to fix it so people will be happy. They will be
Mm.
pleased with me. They will still love me, so they won't leave me.
Wow.
So, yeah, this led into a lot of situationships, or to be honest, what I call them situationships, because they were shit.
Mm.
Uh, with a lot of guys that didn't treat me well. And they
Mm.
wasn't really like, they were surface level. They were predictable because
Mm.
one of my like limiting beliefs was that men are supposed to leave me. So
Wow.
unconsciously, I chose the men that were supposed to leave me.
Wow.
I attracted those that I knew they won't belong in my life because, well, men are not supposed to be either. So why choose the ones that will stay? Because that doesn't add up with my inner programming, with what is
Wow.
supposed to be mine and not mine in this life.
Was
So it
that
was,
something on the
yeah.
surface? Did you know that, or that was when you did the inner work after?
Oh yeah, there was when the inner work came, I
Oh,
definitely saw the parallels. Absolutely.
okay.
Because I was like, in the then, like in the situationships and in the things, the relationships that happened,
Mm.
I was I just wanted to be seen
Mm.
and liked
Mm.
and feel like I mattered by a man.
Mm.
And it really was the like deep deep dive into myself. And I did like regression therapy, for instance, where you go back to the things that happened in your life or previous lives.
Mm.
And then I actually started to understand the patterns. But it took me a long time from when I started seeing them and I was actually able to do something about it.
Mm. Wow. Wow. You were still going down that route of I attracted situationships, and I'd love for you to keep going until now where you're like, I really want to help other women. I feel like we are now in that place where you're in these situationships, you don't even know what's going on. I guess the question is, so what was the turning point?
Oh, the turning point was I had a friendship that evolved to some kind of relationship, and he was already in a relationship. So I became the known side chick or the mistress, call it whatever floats the boat. And what was perfect with him was that he just confirmed my inner belief that men were supposed to leave. Because I know he would always, at the end of the day, he would leave me to go home to his girlfriend.
Hmm.
But at one point, that hurt so much. And that I was like, that became the turning point of like, I can't keep on going. Because then I got hurt repeatedly, so like often and so
Hmm.
close to each other
Hmm.
that I was not the chosen one. I was not the chosen one. So at that point, I was just like, I got this inner, I don't know, fire, something where
Hmm.
I was just like, no, this is my never fucking again moment. I deserve better. I know I'm worth more. I know that I'm supposed to have more love in my life. I'm supposed to
Hmm.
have more of life and experience life. And I was just like, no, this is it. And I talked to a friend of mine the other day about this. At that time, I was going through a jewelry box with family jewelry. And I found different sets of wedding rings. And what was weird was that every set of the rings were coupled up except for one.
Wow.
And I found one tiny wedding ring all by itself. And I was like, it felt like this outer body experience where I was just like, I took the ring and I was like, this is my promise to myself to put myself first, to love myself and do the work so I can actually meet the love of my life and have the life that I want. And it was like this spiritual moment. And then I put it on and I still wear it. But today it's next to my engagement ring. And yeah, I made a promise to myself that I'm getting out. I found the ring, put it on, and wore it and still wear it as a reminder. And not long after that, when I decided to open up, I hit burnout. And then it was this whole rebuilding myself relationship-wise and health-wise all at the same time. And it all happened within under a year. The promise I made to myself to get out of this situationship, get out of being the mistress, found the ring, made a promise to myself, and hitting burnout and meeting my husband to be.
Wow.
So
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, and I just see the power of deciding to choose yourself and how that can entirely change your life in such a short amount of time.
There's something you've said that is so crucial, especially for people who are really still in that phase of I'm looking for someone, I'm not being chosen, men don't choose me. Isn't it amazing how when you decide to choose yourself, others choose you?
Yeah.
But there is such a gray line between the girl that chooses herself and means it and the girl that is waiting to be chosen. I don't know how we can bring it to the listener because I didn't go through that phase where I didn't know how to non-choose myself. Early on, when I at 25, 30 or something, 25, all my friends were getting married. It was like the fire. You gotta be seeing somebody's, university, and every friend of mine was taking a guy home, dating some guy, in some kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, like what's about the number 25? Like, why is everyone going nuts? They were like, oh, you have to be seeing someone. I was like, really? I don't think I do. Like, what happens if I don't? Like, oh, this is the time. I'm like, And then I didn't really see anyone for real. And then like at 30, now my friends started giving me hard time. You've now turned 30. And I'm like, so what? But there's something you've said which is very important, because for me, I was very clear that if I didn't see the man, then I was okay just being by myself. Like, I would rather choose my singleness than choose a guy who didn't see me, didn't respect me, didn't see me as the girl of his dreams. And so for me, it was very clear that unless I saw that, I wasn't down. And I remember reading a book from Steve Harvey called Think Like a Man, where he said, men know from the get-go if you're the girl or you're not the girl. They know from the get-go if you will meet their parents or you will not. Yeah. They know from the get-go if they will be willing to be the man for you or not. So I really took Steve's words I think I took it to the bank, and I just said, they know. So if a man doesn't know what I mean to him, he's not having even a tea with me. And that book really, I don't know that I have learned a lot more from Steve Harvey, but that book was so helpful in helping me put my foot down and go, if a guy doesn't know what I mean to him or where they are taking me, he is not having a day of my life talking about nothing. And that was my elimination method. But I was so lucky that in that moment where my friends were pushing me, and my friends would take my phone number and they would give it to a guy, call my friend, she'd be good for you. And the guys would message me and I'd be like, where did you get my number from? And I'd be like, well, so and so gave me the number. And I'd be like, should I just come and shoot you? Like my friends would like give away my number to guys, you know? My friend,
Yeah.
she's single, she's a good girl, you should message her. And I was just tired. And I was like, why should I be dating men when I don't know anything about men and how these things work? Because my friends got married and they started divorcing. They got
Yeah.
married and they started crying. They got pregnant and the man didn't want to marry them. You know, my friend started being in situations, you know, he has issues with his wife and, you know, he's going to divorce. And I'm like, really? So what is there? Like, why are you like a bounce back kind of thing? Why don't you wait for this guy to divorce his wife if he really wants you in his life so you can become a wife, not a mistress? Because right now you're going to become a mistress. And I know he's going to do it. I'm like, no, why are you in a hurry? You know, why are you in a hurry to be the bounce back thing? And when I read this book, it was very, very, very helpful in helping me put my foot down. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, I didn't care. And I had this massive clarity that I choose myself.
Yeah.
If you're coming around and you just, let me see, I am not the girl. You're not going to be, let me seeing on me. If you are the kind of man that is not working out with his wife and you're looking for some fun, no, thank you. Like I had my rules and I really think they helped me out. I want you to talk to that piece of, I got a ring, I chose myself. Because I feel like that's a very big piece that I don't want to roll over. If someone was listening to us and having struggles with, I attract men who don't see me, I attract men who don't want to stay, I attract men who don't value me. It is really everything to do with you. And are you valuing yourself? Are you choosing yourself? Are you seriously choosing yourself? Because there is thinking you are and when you're not. Because when you're choosing yourself, there's a clear limit of the things you're willing to cope up with and the things you're not. I would like you to talk to that piece. What had happened for you when you got that ring and put it on your finger? Can you tell us more about that transition? Because I feel like that's why you're where you are right now. That decision, you know, but I don't know how to talk through it because I haven't been through the part where I didn't have it, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And before I dive in there, I just have to say what you said about the girls that you see, they see this guy and then they see that guy and then they hold on and la la. There's one thing I feel I see a lot in my girlfriends and like their previous relationships, and that we women say a lot is like, no, he's not into, he doesn't want something that serious right now, la 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 la. And then you can see him date other girls and all of a sudden he meets the one that's just like, she's the one. She's like, no, he wasn't really interested in a relationship. And you also hear the like agony in your girlfriend's voices, like, he didn't want anything serious, and then he met this girl, and now they're like everything, and la la la, and now they're moving in together, and now they're getting engaged, and la la. It's, well, why didn't that happen to me? And la, I was just like, when you said that, I was like, we see this so often, we see it all the time. So what you said about the guy knowing when he meets the girl, I do believe that is true.
Yeah,
a lot of the time.
Yeah, but I feel like it's such a faint line than when you haven't had the experience of the real guy, it is like fair tale.
Yeah.
When you don't know, like now for me, I married the actual guy that I had on paper, the guy one-on-one for me. And so I probably don't know that I missed, but I probably would have had another experience had I not had the firm footing of what I wanted. But when someone has gone through 10 people, and everyone is just not choosing them, what we are saying can really sound like fair airy because they don't even know what they're doing to contribute to the behavior of the guy. I wonder if there is some like specific things that you did yourself to kind of set up yourself from being in a situation to now having the ring, which means the guy is saying you're the one, which I feel is hard. But again, it's not hard if you're clear about what it takes, if it makes sense.
Yeah. I have to give myself a ring to get a ring. No, but okay. So, yeah. But what happened from there, from giving myself a ring to getting a ring? I had to start baby steps taking care of myself, like actually starting to give myself love and the kind of love that I wanted. So in practical ways, I started with what was the easiest for me at that moment was to take better care of my physical health. Going more for walks, starting yoga, and starting meditating, and a lot of self-care practices. But it also involved the, I want to call them, and I call them often, the hardcore kind of self-care, which also is the no. It is setting the boundaries. But it all started with taking care of myself, like mentally, physically, spiritually, and trying my best to show love to myself in all the ways that I could. And actually, when I hit burnout, then I had no choice, to be honest, on the physical health. That was like where I was forced to start. And I have this memory where I was actually on sick leave for my work, and all I was gonna do was like, I was gonna reprogram myself to actually listen to myself and my body, and reconnect with my body, because a lot of our emotions are, like, our physical and our emotional is very connected. So knowing our bodies and our emotions and our bodies are so deeply connected. So I had to start with the physical, like slow down. And I remember when I was on sick leave, I could feel how disconnected I was. I was watching TV, and I had made myself a good cup of tea, and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna relax, because I was so used to like packing my schedule with everything. My only mission, to put it like that, when I was on sick leave was like reconnect and relax. So I was sitting there, and I was like, I had the blanket, I had the cup, like everything. And I cuddled up in the sofa, and I could feel how, for once in my life, I could actually feel how tense my shoulders were. Like they were up to my ears. And I was just like, oh, this is not me relaxing. This is not my body relaxing. So I took a deep breath, and I let my shoulders go, and I was like, okay, now I'm relaxing. Now I'm falling back into my body. Because a lot of things that happen, or what often happens when we go through any kind of trauma, emotional trauma, a lot of the times we can disconnect with our bodies, or like our physical bodies, when it comes to like stress, breathing, relaxing, and actually being able to feel what is going on physically and emotionally. So like learning to slow down, learning to take care of myself. And yeah, and then it was like, I also did my first story coaching, which is something I do a lot. I did my first story coaching exercise, where I actually started to find these limiting beliefs of what was going on. And I remember it was something called the Hungry Method by Cynthia Garcia, which is my coach as well. And I remember I was sitting on the floor and writing it out. And it was all the questions was everything from, what is it that I currently want in my life that I don't have? Why do I believe I don't have it? And it went into, what do I have to believe, and who do I need to be to actually get there?
That's good.
A lot of like identity-based coaching, and who do I need to be to actually get what I want in this life? To have the relationship, to have the love, to have the job, the this, the that, whatever the thing is that you want. So, and I look back at my whole journey now and the certifications I took and everything, I'm just like, I'm my best own I'm my best own client. Like I did it. I actually did it. But it wouldn't even have taken me, how long far am I now? Like 7 years into it. Would
Wow.
it have taken me 7 years if I had someone like me by my side that had already been there? I don't think so.
Wow.
Because it was a hard journey.
I know. I've picked the 3 questions. Those are really good. And I think I want to use them to jump into your actual preparatory process. What do I
Yes.
want that I don't have right now? That's the question. What are the things that I believe about myself that are keeping me in this place where I don't have what I want? Who do I have to be to get this thing? I think those are 3 questions that right now, if you took them and journaled, you may come up with some stuff. What do I want right now that I don't have? It's a dream job, it's a dream man, is it a body? Why is it that you want that you don't have? Question number 2, what are the beliefs you have about yourself that are keeping you from getting this thing? I really love that. And then 3, who do I have to become to get those things? I 100% believe that the what belongs to you, the how does not. But somehow when you're clear on who do I have to be to get these things, the how will just show up. It's just my belief.
Oh, I agree so much.
It's just my belief.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there are a few steps there between 2 and 3 as well. And that is all about your beliefs and uncovering the beliefs. Like, okay, question number 2. Oh God, brain fog. But question number 2 about how do you believe?
Let me take it like this. I know this is a bit of your process of how you take people from A to Z. Why don't we instead just dive into the process so you can give us the steps as you teach them in your preparatory? Because I feel like I dipped my toes in your process and then I got out. So I would love for you to take us through what is step 1 to step X of, say, let's take like people pleasing, or let's take, what is the most obvious situation that would resonate with the majority of the people that you serve? What is the most common problem that they present when they come?
Surface wise, it's usually the people pleasing.
Okay.
And
I feel
burnout
like
or signs of burnout.
I feel like love is a good place to be. Like love, I don't have love. My love life is not where I want it. I'm attracting the men in my life that I don't want. I'm stuck in a situation. My husband, this. I feel like love is a good place to kind of have this conversation. So take us in your system or process and reflect back towards like love and how that shows up in relationships, in self-worth, and in how somebody values, prioritizes, and positions themselves in maybe like a romantic relationship. But I think this can go backwards to people pleasing in every situation. But I like the love situation because that is relatable.
It's so relatable. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I have different steps, and I don't want to call it different frameworks, but the one that we started, where I had the questions I told you, that is some of the techniques that I use. And usually where we start out and try to figure out, okay, why are you not actually having these things? And I also have something I call the 5 gems.
Wow.
And the 5 gems are the things that, and it's not like first we go through 1 and then we go through 2 and then we go through 3, but it's more like, okay, where are you and where do you score yourself within these 5 gems? And like, where are you lacking and where are you like overflowing and where do we need to recalibrate? So the 5 gems, I have self-awareness, which is like deepening your self-awareness and trying to get to know your own patterns and seeing your own patterns. And in that, try to reconnect with your inner self, like your voice. Because I feel that is a big part of what we're lacking and what gets us into people pleasing and like turns us sometimes, like if we can actually have the self-awareness and see what's going on and have that connection to our inner selves, it's easier for us to feel more worthy of love, and give ourselves more love and whatever we actually need, because we can actually know what we need. But yeah, self-awareness is my number one gem. That's where we all start. Some are very self-aware when they meet up with me. Some are not that much. And my second gem is power reclamation. And I want, because we all have this flame, this power within us, which is the belief in yourself and all the things that you can do to feel like you have the power from within you. Like power reclamation, taking your power back. And that's the belief in yourself and all of these good things. And also I wanted to add to that is that, and also while we move into self-love, which is my third gem, is that I truly believe that we get what we believe we are worthy of, and not necessarily what we want or we think we want.
Wow.
And this like ties into my first three gems, where you have the self-awareness, you have the power reclamation, you know you have the power within you, and then number three, which is self-love. And that is when we've created the self-awareness, we starting to feel the power, the voice within that is actually there. We can start to actually feel the self-love, like that is blossoming, like the garden you take good care of, like your body, it's the physical body, your mental, your emotional. When you start to take care of that and nurture that, it's like it lifts your spirit. And you start to get to know who you are, what you like, what you love about yourself. And we start with like, because sometimes when you say you just gotta love yourself, people be like, eh. But that is also a big part of that is also accepting the parts of you that you might not love that much, showing yourself some grace and accept for what has been. And I believe that forgiveness and forgiving ourselves for where we have been is a big part of growing our self-love, because whatever situation, if okay, I can take myself as an example. When I look back to my situationships and all the things that happened in my life, that I did things that was not respectful to myself or to my body or to the love of me, I know that at that time I did the best that I could. So trying to find the self-love, to have acceptance for what has been, and actually forgive myself, because I know that I did the best with what I had, what I could, what I knew back then. But you gotta dive deep sometimes to find it. But it's so worth it when you get there. So yeah, that is some of my gems, like self-awareness, power reclamation, and self-love. And then the spirit part, the spirit liberation, is my fourth gem. And that is about like, that's where you soar into flight, and like you come away, like the constraints and everything that was holding you back are starting to like really just like float away and let go. And you can actually feel like you are liberated, like your soul is free, and that you are like, okay, I can actually do the things that I want, and I can find a loving way to do it. And yeah, where you can actually feel like you can pursue your dreams, you can pursue your passions. And it's just light, it's just lightness. Like you can feel like this, what was weighing you down is no longer weighing you down. Like you are liberated from your own shit, to be direct. And because I do believe in a lot of spirituality stuff, my fifth gem is that the universe has your back. In whatever way that means to you. If if it's God, if it's universe, if it's source, if it's Mother Nature, whatever floats your boat. But just know that whatever you're going through, you're not alone. It can be a mentor, if that is it. But knowing that what's meant for you will not pass you. And that in the universe, it's this sacred balance of giving and receivement, and you have this, like, you have manifestation and identity and everything. And I love this. It's like dance with the universe. Just know you're not alone, and see if you can find comfort in whatever you believe in, to know that you are supported in whatever you do, and that, yeah, what's meant for you will not pass you. And I worked with one of my youth. I coach a lot of young women, and she came from a religious family, and she didn't feel religious. And I was like, but what do you believe in? Because usually we believe in something that we can relate to, and that will help us make sense of things. And she said, I believe in karma. I was like, okay. That is your universe, your whatever. You believe in karma. Okay, how can we see this in a karmic perspective? The thing that's going on. What goes around comes around, and so on. And it's all about, yeah, finding the things that make sense to you. That is, yeah. So that's the universe has your back, my 5th gem.
I love the process. I am clear for all, save for one. So the question I want to ask there is, where are the stories? Where are the 3 questions going to fit here? I understand all of them, save for one. And so which part do we ask the 3 questions?
They show up everywhere.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this is why it's like, I don't want to say like it's 2 different frameworks. These all intertwine. Like the questions are one of the methods that I use to help you find your inner power again, to help you get to where you can actually feel like you like and you love yourself. And that is, the questions are part of a story coaching methodology. And the thing is, and this is also what kind of connects with my 5th one, like the universe has your back, is that we need to make sense of things. Like our brain needs stories to make sense of things, because it needs to know what's going on. And a lot of the things that happened when we were younger, it helps us tell a story of something. Maybe it's the story of not being worthy, not being loved, that I have to please to have people actually like me and love me and want to hang out with me, and so on. And we create these stories. Also, in some ways you can call it the limiting beliefs, but usually there's a story behind the limiting beliefs, something that happened. So to take a classic example is, when you were young, you got your first grade card with your grades at school, and you took it home. And when you came home and you gave it to your parents set you down. When your parents saw the grades, they told you that you can do better. Maybe then, as a little kid, the story you made up of what was going on is that my parents don't think I'm enough. They don't think I'm good enough. And that's the story that you created to make sense of why they were saying the things they were saying and what was going on. And when we work with story coaching and take a story like this, maybe you now, from an adult perspective, can come back and look at what happened and be like, oh, my parents said that they said the same thing. They said that I can do better. but this time maybe you can give it a new explanation. You can give it a new story. That, okay, my parents said that because they were kind of actually right. They knew that I had more potential in me. And all they ever wanted for me was for me to have every possibility open for me in whatever I want to do in this life, to make the money, to get the education, to whatever, because they didn't have that opportunity. So they wanted me to do better. They knew I could do better. They knew I could get better grades. And at the end of the day, they just wanted me to have everything I wanted in this life. So when you as an adult go back and visit those old stories and you reframe them, you write a new one, more empowering one, the beliefs about you not being good enough, they kind of dissolve or go away. And not to say that you can go through this story one time and you're done with it. We need repetition so our new neurons in our brain can forge new pathways. So that will actually be like your default. So the story comes like in between question 2 and 3. It's like, okay, what actually happened? What new story can I provide it? And then question number 3, who do I need to be? Who do I need to be to get the thing that I actually want in this life? And what do I also need to let go of? Where am I lacking? Am I feel like I'm lacking support in a higher power or in myself or in my surroundings, in my community? Do I need to feel and connect more with my self-love? Do I feel like I'm like liberated to actually do the things that I want? Like, what is holding you back and where do you want to go?
I've taken notes. What I want to do, I have taken notes because I want to explain to you how I've understood it, and then you will tell me if I've got it or not.
Sounds good.
Because if I've got it, then the person listening has got it. There's 5 steps to your framework, which is how you move from I'm not worthy and I need people to love me, accept me, please don't leave me, please, 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 to actually fine by myself. I actually don't need nobody to be loved, accepted. I actually can give myself all these things. So if you come in my life, you better value me, you better appreciate me, because you don't really have to be in my life unless you want to, unless you see what, I don't know. Like, I feel like you move from a place of wanting people in your life so badly that you're willing to sacrifice your soul to, I am willing to let people go if they don't fit in my life. I actually love life so much that I am very protective of who I let in. I actually love myself so much that I know I deserve everything that I want to be. I see the best for myself. I am willing to become the person that can get those things. And God help you, if you get in my way, you will be eliminated. Like, I feel like my method, if I was to put a framework to my life, it is, I have a gun and I will shoot to kill anyone who is in the way of my dreams. Literally, like, that's the statement. I'm not a murderer, but like, that's, my husband says that's my attitude. Like, I have this calling, this mission, this vision in my head, and God help you if you get in the way, you'll be shot. Like, it's like your method is like shoot to kill anyone who gets in your way. And so I am not saying get to shoot to kill state, but that's kind of, I think, where
you're willing to let go.
Like, I am willing to eliminate anything that looks like it's going to stand in the way of what I feel so called to be. And to the place where we started of relationships and people pleasing and blah, 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 what I wanted to give there as a submission is that there needs to be, what helped me personally is I was able to shift my energy and I got married to something else. I got married to my goals. I got married to my dreams. I got married to my career. And when the man came, I wasn't looking for the man. And I think that the best mindset to be in is not to try and look and not to try and catch the guy. If you can liberate yourself from trying to hunt for the guy, I think that's the best energy. And for me, I didn't know how to do that. But somehow I was married to this work, married to my calling, married to my. There is always that thing in my heart that says you're called for more, you're called to impact lives. And so for me, that took me and my attention away from, I want the guy to, I am here to like just do my thing. And when I was on my mission, doing my thing, the man then came. Now, I'm not saying it works for everyone, but can you find another place to put your attention other than trying to appeal to a certain type of guy, if it makes sense? I don't know. That's what I did. There's 5 things I've learned from Stine. And one is really self-awareness, which by now, if you're listening to this, I think you probably have enough self-awareness. And at the end of this episode, I will tell you the problem that I think we have today is not that you don't really know these things, it's that you need to kind of become these things. And so really the premise of this podcast is that good. If you don't know the things, we are going to let you away. We're going to educate you. But I feel like most people know these things and they are not being those things. And so what I want us to do on this podcast is bridge that gap of knowing and being. I want to kind of give you that little push and help you cross that bridge to being. But the first thing, if you're not aware, is really awareness. I'm very new to spiritual work, very new to inner healing and all of these things. And so what I'm creating for myself by interviewing all these experts is self-awareness, because I don't know what I don't know. And maybe Prima can be better. Maybe Prima can be less, less intimidating when she says no, if she's more aware of herself and other people. Self-awareness is where it all begins. There's so many things that I have learned from this podcast that I even never knew existed. Like the other day, there was a gentleman who said, I'm a channel. I said, what is that? He said, people pay me to listen to their heart. I said, you must be kidding me. He said, no. I said, so tell me exactly what your business is about. And he's literally paid to listen to people's souls and help them make a decision. Because today, our heads and minds are so noisy, so much going on, that we have disconnected from our own instinct. Now, that was shocking to me because I have never encountered this problem. I've always been very strong on gut and instinct. I took it for granted until I met that man and he said, no, it's not everyone has that. Like people every day pay me to help them. And I'm like, wow. And so I really can't wait to have him on because it's another world that for me, I didn't even know existed. And I said, so exactly what is the problem when people come and, hire you? And he said, well, they don't really know until they have to make a life decision, until they think maybe they should leave their marriage. I think until they think maybe they should marry someone, or they should leave their job of 20 years, and they feel like it's a decision too heavy for their level of clarity. And so I help them, I connect with their soul and help them make a decision which they won't regret later because it is a decision that is made from their soul. And I was like, wow, I was like, wow, I am so ignorant about that work. And so self-awareness is where it all starts. If you're not aware of why you're choosing all the wrong people, you can't change it. And so the first place is really self-awareness. The second thing is reclaiming your power, which is the part I didn't really understand. But Stine will tell me how wrong I am. But I think reclaiming your power is the thing she's calling story coaching. I think that part happens more in story coaching, where I want something, I don't have it. There is things I believe about myself, whether consciously or subconsciously, that are in the way of me getting that thing. And in that story coaching methodology, I am really getting clear on who does Prima need to be, what does Prima need to believe to be able to tap onto the things that she wants. And I feel like that is how you will reclaim your power. If something happened in my childhood, and now I have made it mean something that is sabotaging me, how can I install a new meaning to this thing that gives me the power to move forward? That's how I understood the connection between reclaiming my power in changing my story, but she would tell me like if this is a wrong connection. But I didn't understand reclaim your power until you talked about the story. And now I can see how knowing what I want, knowing what story is in the way or what belief is in the way, knowing that I want a new affiliation with that, I can see how that can empower me to kind of move forward. Then there's self-love, which is like a radical acceptance. You've done some things that you probably think you're not worthy of love, not worthy of acceptance, not worthy of whatever. But until you radically accept yourself and say, I deserve these things, no one is going to give you what you feel you don't deserve. Think about it. No one is going to give you something which you can't give yourself. So if you can't respect yourself enough and feel like you deserve something, there's no one who's going to magically give it to you, because it's all energy, which is, I think, coming from one of awareness and tapping into your inner being, because somehow your energy, you have to believe that you deserve more, you deserve better, and you're not willing to settle for less. And this self-love or radical acceptance really helps you create a standard that you force yourself to respect. Because the moment you don't respect yourself, there is no way another human being will give you that, because you're not a match for it. And that is why she had to buy a ring and put it on her finger and say, you know what, I'm my soulmate. And I need to be with myself forever. And then the guy that's now her husband to be got it like, oh, okay. She's really determined, to do this long-term thing with herself. And somehow she reflected that energy of being able to attract someone long-term. But self-love is that moment where you radically love yourself and refuse to not give yourself the things you deserve. And if anybody comes and is trying to get you become less, you're like, no, like no thanks. 4 is a spiritual liberation, knowing that not everything is in your hands to control, knowing that you can't control everything, knowing that there's an upper hand on your life and you're not here by mistake, and being okay, not knowing the A to Z of stuff, like I like to say, spiritual liberation. You probably give me more context on the spiritual liberation. How does it work?
Oh, then we have to take a few steps back to the power reclamation, because you said that the power reclamation is kind of what you do in story coaching, and that is absolutely true. That is where you start. Like, you choosing to do the work, going back, changing your stories, changing your beliefs, that is taking back your power, because you're taking radical responsibility for what is going on in your life. That is you taking your power back, even though you might feel like, oh, but I struggle with this and you're stuck with that. But you're here to do the work. The second you decide and start to actually do the shitty work, to call it what it is, that is you reclaiming your power. And as you do that, you take that power reclamation and those old stories start to fall off. It's like the weight falls off. And that's where you feel the liberation. Your stories no longer have
power
you weighing down, holding back, but you're relieved. You can take a deep breath. Just like, yes. And sometimes you'll be like, oh, something comes in on your in your thoughts, in your emotions, and you'll be like, that's an old story. That doesn't control me anymore. And at that point, you feel the liberation.
Yes. Spiritual liberation is when things can crumble around you and you still be like, yeah, it's all right,
Yeah, it's I think it's knowing I'll be okay no matter what. Like you said, it's like it's not waiting for the man and be like, oh, I will be good when I have the man, the job, the relationship, the whatever. But it's knowing I'll be good no matter what.
Yeah.
If he comes, amazing. That would be an experience of a lifetime, to have a partner that wants to do and experience life with me. But if it doesn't happen, or it goes south, and something happens,
I'll be fine.
Me to him, life happens, so something will probably happen at one point. You know that, no, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Just
Wow.
fine.
It's such a peaceful place. And I like your last pillar, which is the universe has your back. Like, I can't begin to tell you how many things have happened in my life. And it was just like, yeah, my job is to say yes. My job is to be clear on what I want. The how does not belong to me. I don't know how
Yeah.
many stories
The
I
how
can
is none of your
tell.
business is
It's
one of
never
my
your
favorite
business.
things.
I will tell one story, which
Yeah.
is when I decided I dated this one man for 5 years, and he was everything that I didn't want. I was not aware. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I dated this one man, and he wasn't the guy. Like, everything about him was not the thing. That's when I started to read these books about Steve Harvey and all of that. So I remember I said, when I leave this guy, which like somehow I just knew it wasn't the thing. Every year that passed, I just knew it wasn't the thing. Like, I knew, and I didn't leave because I didn't want to leave with insufficient knowledge. So I started to take notes. Everything I didn't want, I said, okay, so I don't want this. So what do I want? This guy helped me write my list somehow. And every year I just added more things that I wanted, more things that I wanted, more things that I wanted. And so I was, I don't know, 32 or something. And I started writing this list. And my friend said, Prima, 32 years old is not a place to start writing a list of what you want in a guy. I said, why? He said, because you're no longer 23. I said, what do you mean? Like, you no longer have the upper hand. I was like, really? And I remember from 32, 35, every year I added like 5 things on that list. And I said, yep, he must be this and this and this and this. My list grew longer and longer and longer and longer. And my friend started telling me, Prima, really? Like, really? Which man on this planet is going to have all those things? I said, I don't know. But he better have them. And I had like 5 things. Like, if you have these things, goodbye. And my friends were like, every man has those things. I was like, amazing. You have a friend who's going to be a spinster. She'll never get married. Celebrate yourself. I wrote that list. And what I did is, instead of expecting that man to be those things, I went and became those things.
Yes.
Somehow I went, I said, I'm going to write the things I want in a partner. But I said, if I want these things, I better become these things. And so I just went off and started becoming those things. And one day I shared my story on Facebook about my rock bottom moment, where I'd quit my job, my bricks and mortar had closed down. I was online 9 months later, no clients. My message was so unclear. Nobody was paying me. This is why I like doing this work, because there's so many people who are amazing, but their message is confusing. And so I was online, I was broke like a joke. I remember at that point, I was so broke. I entered the supermarket and spent 30 minutes looking for the cheapest toilet paper. I shared that story online. And when I shared it online, my husband now saw the story and said, wow, who is this person? This is my wife. Like, in this day and era, in this Facebook of everyone looking amazing, there's a girl with short hair talking about how she couldn't afford toilet paper. This is my wife. He made a decision then that I was his wife. He joined my program because he does like the same thing, coaching. He joined my program. Before I know it, he came through, I don't know, 3 months later. He's left his country. He's from the UK. I've never been to UK. He left UK, he came down here. 1 year later, we got married. We've been married for 1.5 years. All because I was an energetic match for all of the things I wanted. My husband is everything on that paper and then some. And so I want to share this story because I want to encourage you. If you're like, I don't have what I want in marriage, your job is to be clear on what that thing is and be the thing and let the energy flow. I wanted to share that bit. I know that you help people behind the scenes. I know that you hold people's hands. I would love to get an insight into your containers and what you have going on when it comes to offers, how you support people.
How I support people. Well, thank you for sharing, by the way. And
No
just
problem.
to like sum up, it's like you just summed up one of the last steps in story coaching, which is becoming the identity.
Mm.
that actually has the thing that you want,
Mm.
and the universe has your back.
Yeah.
You kind of just like sum those two up. But yeah, what do I actually offer? I work with one-on-one coaching 3 months at a time,
Mm.
and primarily women. I have worked with men, and they're not, to be straight and honest, they're not my first priority. Women is.
Mhm.
And yeah, we worked through 3 months together
Mhm.
because change doesn't happen overnight, let's be
Mhm.
honest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to take you 5-6 years like it took with me.
Mm.
And from there, we meet up every week. We have a couple of deep dives, which is some sessions that go longer,
Mhm.
or if it's like really like deep stuff, trauma things we need to go into, we will do that
Mm.
if needed.
Mhm.
We use the story coaching as a tool.
Mm.
I have several journal exercises and
Mm.
meditation exercises to create the self-awareness and to help you land back into your body.
Mm.
And the people I work with are always a little bit different, as I said in the beginning. Somebody has already like started to take care of their body and showing their self-love through
Mm.
the physical kind of health, like the practical things.
Mm.
Somebody will need more support in the mental, the emotional part, and someone maybe in the spiritual part. And when I talk about spirituality, that is all about connection. It's back to the universe has your back, whatever you believing, insert name. And yeah, it takes a deep dive with a client to actually see where are we lacking, where are you already starting to grow and know, like, are you good with the physical stuff?
Mm.
Like, do you have that down, or are you hopping on and off the physical things because you don't believe you're worthy of feeling that way or being that way or having that thing? So it's hard to be like, this is the framework. But I use the story coaching as one of my main methods with the identity based one. Like, and then I have my 5 gems, which is like the recalibration, like where are we? Where do we
Mm.
need to fill up?
Mm.
And I feel like my work is manifestation and the woo-woo and the spiritual part meeting neuroscience, practical coaching, and just like meh, all together.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
like we have the framework,
Mm.
but we need the flowy. We need the faith. We need the voice within, because it doesn't
Mm.
matter what I say.
Mm.
The client I work with has the answers. I just find the sometimes very tough questions.
Mm.
I just find the tools to help you get there.
Mm. It's the strategy and the energy have to come together. Like I strongly believe most people are just not an energy match for the things they want, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
They are in
I
this
think so
energy and
too.
they want the other thing, and they are really chasing strategy, which is amazing. But unless you're a match for that thing, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So,
And I see that like the training I've gone through. Yeah, I'm a holistic health coach. So I'm like everything from the
mm,
physical to the mental to the spiritual, all
mm,
of that. But I'm a meditation teacher. I'm trained in Tantra as well. And I'm a life coach. And it's like, and I'm also trained by Bob Proctor back in the day before he passed when
mm,
it comes to the laws of the universe. So I feel like I'm a little bit of everything. I'm very multi-passionate, but the thing I care most for is the person in front of me and how can I help her feel more love? How can I help her feel worthy of the things she wants? How can I help her become a match, as you say, to the things that she wants in this life? Because
mm,
as I said earlier, like I really truly believe that we get what we believe we are worthy of, not what we put on our vision board or write in our journal, unless we actually believe we're worthy of those things that we put down.
mm. Oh, I love it. I'll be putting links down for connecting with Stine. Just come where you're at. If you feel like you've had enough information, you're clear you want this transformation, and you feel like Stine is a good fit for you, book the call. Book a call, sit with her and have a chat. You don't have to make a purchase, but you do need to get in the room. A lot of things happen when you get in the room. So get yourself in the room. If you don't feel quite ready to jump in and start, getting this work done, no problem. She has social media and she has a website, and there will be something free for you. But start, in this podcast, I believe that we need to move away from the mindset of learning into the mindset of being the thing. Because if
amen.
we don't, the mind will always tell us, this thing. But what is the result that you have today? And do you like the result? If you don't, and you want a different result, in this podcast, I just say move and give yourself a chance to be the person you need to be, so you can attract the things that you want to attract. This is my call for you. If you know someone that is stuck in the people-pleasing behavior, if you know someone that is stuck in situations, a situation. If you know someone that is just not happy with their life, that could use this information, please share the episode. That's the entire biggest and grandest gesture you can do for me, is share this episode with them. I want Stine to be discovered, and all you have to do is bless one person with this episode if you feel like they need this information. Again, I will say the information is out there if we all wanted it. But the gap really that I want to fill with this podcast is move, book a call, start. Look around you. We all know how to lose weight. At least if we wanted, we would. See how much you're eating and maybe walk 2 times or move twice the amount of food you eat. Look around. People are seriously overweight, obese, and have health issues. People are not doing it. And so it's my belief, after working with clients for 10 years, that knowing is not enough. We need to cross the line between knowing and being. And that is the entire premise of this podcast. Book a call, get in the door. Take step number 1. Sometimes the will is there, but you need another environment to, let go of the beliefs that you have. Sometimes this belief will hold you down and you won't book the call because you don't feel worthy. And it's okay, just book the call anyway. You don't have to buy, but you have to get in the room to get the transformation. And so I would love for you to do those things. 1, share the episode. 2, if this is speaking to you, do something. Check the show notes. Click on something and move forward. Not more information, but to doing. Start doing. Of course, as usual, rate, review, subscribe, follow. Whatever the place where you are is asking for. The bigger the community, the bigger the game I can play, the bigger the experts I can bring on, the more tangible and life-changing tools you can access. I am only limited by the community and what's happening. There is 10 times more viewers than their subscribers. Don't be one of those people who comes here and doesn't subscribe. Subscribe. Because when you subscribe, you have become a part of this community that we are building and everything that will happen. Stine, if there was someone jumping in right now and they had a minute or 2 and that's all they'll ever remember about your episode, what should they remember as your last words? What should they remember if they missed it all and are not about to watch it?
You get what you believe you are worthy of.
What a way to end. You get what you believe you're worthy of. Not what you want, not what you think you should get, but what you truly, from the core of your heart, believe you're worthy of. Thank you for your attention today. Thank you for being part of the World's Best Kept Secret podcast. I will talk to you very soon in yet another episode. Thank you, Stine, for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me.
That is it, my friend. To listen to more exclusive interviews like this one, simply go to the World's Best Kept Secret podcast.com and select interviews based on preferred topic.